So guys, now let us talk about a situation wherein in say a particular year, a company is suffering from inadequacy of profits or absence of profits for declaration of dividend. Okay, so say for example, the company wants to declare dividend in the year 2019-20. Okay, but say in this year, the company is suffering from losses, okay, or the company is having a profit of say 1 crore, whereas it wants to declare a dividend of say 2 crores. In such a situation, can the company declare the dividend? Okay, now if this is the question, for this there is a specific provision which has been created under the Companies Act, which says that in case the company is suffering from inadequacy of profits or absence of profits in any financial year, then the company is still allowed to declare dividend. What are the sources for declaration of dividend in case of inadequacy of profits? In case in this year there are no profits, how can the company declare dividend? So the law is permitting you, section 123 is permitting you to pay dividend in case of inadequacy of profits or absence of profits in one particular financial year out of accumulated profits earned by it in its previous financial years. Out of what? Accumulated profits earned by it in the previous financial years. Okay, so in the year 1920, they are having a problem with respect to the amount for payment of dividend. We do not have it, okay, or it is inadequate. In such a case, whatever amount the company must have transferred to reserves in the year say 1819, 1718, all of these earlier years profits which have been transferred to reserves, okay, can be used for declaration of dividend. Now when you are saying that you can use reserves for payment of dividend, which kind of reserves can you use for payment of dividend? So the law is very specific over here, and it says that you can use only free reserves for the payment of dividend. Okay, which reserves? Free reserves. Free reserves will include your general reserve, okay, dividend equalization reserves. These are different reserves which are free, which can be used for payment of dividend in case the company is having inadequate profits or absence of profits in a particular financial year. Can the company use something which is called as your securities premium account for payment of dividend in case of inadequacy of profits? Yes or no? Answer is no. It is not a which reserve? It is not a free reserve. So it cannot be utilized for the purpose of declaration of dividend. Can the company use say capital redemption reserve? Okay, can this reserve be used for payment of dividend? Answer is no. Even that cannot be used because it is not a free reserve. So in case of inadequacy of profits or absence of profits in any particular financial year, the company is allowed to pay dividend, okay, but out of which profits? Accumulated profits earned by it in the previous financial years, which have been transferred by the company to its which reserves? Free reserves. But such a declaration shall be as per the prescribed rules. Now the law is saying that okay, you can pay it, you can use your accumulated profits for payment of what? Dividend. In case of inadequacy of profits, you are allowed to do so, but you will have to follow the prescribed rules. Now the rule which becomes applicable over here is Rule 3 of Companies Declaration and Payment of Dividend Rules 2014. So Rule 3 of Companies Declaration and Payment of Dividend Rules 2014, it's specifically talking about declaration of dividend out of reserves. What is it talking about? It is talking about declaration of dividend out of what? Reserves. Okay, so now they are saying fine, you do not have profits or you have less profits, fine, you use your reserves, pay dividend out of it, completely okay. Okay, but follow the prescribed rule. Which is the prescribed rule over here, guys? The prescribed rule is rule 3. Okay, now what is rule 3 saying? Okay, rule 3 has got various sub rules. Okay, rule 3 has got various sub rules, and according to rule 3 you will have to follow all of these sub rules. Means all of them will have to be satisfied in case you want to declare dividend out of reserves. The first sub rule is talking about the rate of dividend. Okay, the first sub rule is talking about the rate of dividend. The rate of dividend, in case you are declaring dividend out of reserves, should never exceed the average rates at which dividend was declared by the company in the past. How many years? 3 years immediately preceding that year. Okay, so say for example, you want to declare a dividend in case of inadequacy or absence of profits in the year 1920. Okay, then in that case, you will go and check the rates of dividend for the previous 3 financial years, which is going to be 18-19, 17-18 and 16-17. Okay, in say 16-17 you had declared dividend at the rate of say 10%, 17-18 15%, 18-19 20%. So what is the average of these 3 rates? It is going to be 10 plus 15 plus 20 divided by 3. That is how you take an average. Okay, is going to be 15%. Okay, so in such a situation, what is the maximum rate of dividend which can be declared by the company in the year 1920? How much is the maximum rate of dividend which can be declared by the company in the year 1920? Is going to be maximum what percent, guys? It is going to be maximum 15%, because it is not going to exceed the average rates at which dividends were declared by the company in the immediately preceding how many years? 3 years. Okay, but imagine that the company has not declared any dividend in any of the 3 years. In 16-17 also there is no dividend. In 17-18 also there is no dividend. In 19-20 also there is no dividend. Then in that case you will not have an average. In case you do not have an average, okay, 0 is the average. 0, 0, 0. There is no average. So in the immediately preceding 3 years, if there is no dividend, then in that case you will not have to consider this particular sub rule. So this sub rule is not going to be applicable if the company has not declared any dividend in each of the 3 preceding financial years. Okay. Now the question which generally comes in the minds of the students is, what if the company has declared 0 dividend in 16-17? Okay, 0 dividend in 16-17. Say 10% dividend in 17-18 and 0% over in 18-19. Then in that case, will this rule be applicable or not applicable? Answer is it will be applicable, because 0 plus 10 plus 0 divided by 3, okay, is going to be 3.33%. Okay, in such a case, the rule is going to be applicable. So this rule will not be applicable, okay, only in the situation that in the past preceding 3 years, okay, in the past immediately preceding 3 years, if there is 0 dividend in all the 3 financial years, only in that case this sub rule is not going to be applicable. I hope this point is clear. Okay, so this is the first sub rule. And guys, always remember, you will have to satisfy all the sub rules in order to be in compliance with the law. Okay, it's not like, oh, you satisfy one sub rule and it is done. It doesn't work like that. You will have to satisfy all the sub rules. Fine. Now, the next point is talking about what is the maximum amount which can be drawn from the accumulated profits. So the maximum amount which can be drawn from the accumulated profits will be maximum 1/10 of the paid up share capital of the company and free reserves. Okay, so whatever is your paid up share capital, say your paid up share capital is 100 crore. Okay, your free reserves are say 40 crores. Okay, so you will get a figure of 140 crores. Out of that, maximum what percent? 10%. That is 14 crores. Okay, this is the maximum withdrawal which is going to be possible from the accumulated profits. Okay, but along with sub-rule 2 cannot be looked at alone. Okay, along with sub-rule 2, you will also have to have a look at sub-rule 3. So guys, make sure you are having a look at sub-rule 2 and sub-rule 3 at the same time. Okay, so from this 14 crores which you are withdrawing from the reserves, you will have to first deduct the losses incurred in the financial year in which the dividend is declared. Okay, so always make sure whatever is the loss that you are deducting from the amount which is going to be withdrawn from the reserves. Say for example, the loss in the financial year of 1920 is 2 crores. Okay, in such a case, okay, the amount which can be maximum utilized from the reserves is 14 minus 2 crores will come to 12 crores. Fine. Now, the last part is going to talk about balance of reserves. That is how much money. Okay, the last sub rule is going to talk about balance of reserves. That is how much money should be left. How much money should be left in the reserves after doing whatever withdrawal you had to do. Okay, so after doing whatever withdrawal you had to do, how much balance should be left in the reserves? How much minimum balance should be left in the reserves? So, sub-rule 4 says that balance of the reserves after the withdrawal is going to be minimum 15% of the paid up share capital of the company. Minimum 15% of the paid up share capital of the company. So, let us say paid up share capital of the company was 100 crores. Okay, 15% of 100 crores is how much? 15 crores. Okay, say your reserves were 40 crores. Okay, after whatever you utilize from the reserves, say X is what you are utilizing from the reserves. How much is the balance which should be left in the reserves? The balance which should be left in the reserves is at least 15 crores. Implying that how much can you use from the reserves? Implying that you can use 25 crores from the reserves and not more than that. Okay, and remember guys, these 4 sub-rules which you have seen, you will have to satisfy all of these conditions. You will have to satisfy all of these conditions at once. Okay, so logically when you make a calculation guys, okay, we will solve a practical question undoubtedly. Before we end this lecture, we'll have to solve a practical question and we'll do that. So when you actually do the calculation, you will come across 3 figures. The first figure is going to be according to the first sub rule, that is going to be the figure as per the rate of dividend. The next figure is going to be by reading sub rule 2 and sub rule 3 at once. Okay, which is going to be how much is the maximum amount which you have withdrawn from the accumulated profits, that is 1/10 of the paid up share capital plus free reserves, and from this minus the losses which have been incurred. Okay, so this reading sub rule 2 and 3, you will come across the second figure, and the third figure is going to be according to sub rule 4, which is going to give you how much is the balance in the reserves which will have to be maintained after the withdrawal of minimum, after the withdrawal of the requisite amount from the reserves. So how much is the balance which is going to be left in the reserves after the withdrawal is going to be the third figure. The first figure according to sub rule 1, second figure according to sub rule 2 and 3 together, and the third figure is going to be according to the fourth sub rule, which will talk about how much balance will be left in the reserves after the withdrawal. Now let us have a look at a practical question which will make your concept extremely clear. So now to understand rule 3 better, we are going to be having a look at a practical question. So what is the question saying? Have a look. This is a question from one of the past exam papers of the CA exams. Okay, so the question says that X and Company Limited has made a loss of rupees 20 lakhs after providing depreciation for the year ended 31st March 2019, and as a result the company was not in a position to declare any dividend for the said year out of profits. However, the board of directors of the company announced declaration of dividend at the rate of 15% on equity shares payable out of free reserves. So whenever they say that the board of directors, despite the losses, wants to declare dividend, the thing which should come to your mind is that rule 3 would become applicable over here. Okay. Now, the paid up share capital of the company and its free reserves as on 31st March 2019 are 2 crores and 10 crores respectively, are 2 crores and 10 crores respectively. Okay, so they have given you the figures of the paid up share capital as well as the free reserves. Now they have also given you the average. They have also given you the average dividend declared by the company in the last how many years? 5 years, which is what percent? 25%. So for the last 5 years, if it is 25%, then for the last 3 years also it is 25%, obviously. Okay. So now we will have to check examine the validity of the declaration of dividend. We have to check whether the decision of the board of directors to declare 15% as the dividend, whether it is valid or not. So we will have to check whether the company is in compliance of rule 3 or not. Fine. So now what was the loss for the year? The loss for the year ended 31st March 2019 from the question we saw was 20 lakhs. Okay, and how much dividend does board of directors want to declare? They want to declare 15% on equity shares, which is 15% of paid up share capital, that is 15% into 2 crores, which will come to how many lakhs? 30 lakhs. Okay, this is how much they want to declare. We have to decide whether their decision is actually valid or not. Now, the paid up share capital of the company is 2 crores, free reserves are 10 crores, and average dividend for the past 5 years is 25%. That's as we have seen in the question. Now, we have seen that rule 3 has got 4 sub rules and we will have to comply with all of them. So now we are going to check whether the decision of the board of directors is in compliance with all the sub rules of rule 3 or not. So first point says that the first sub rule says that the average rate of dividend for the past 3 financial years is going to be maximum what percent? Is going to be maximum 25%. Is going to be maximum what percent? Is going to be maximum 25%. So maximum amount as per rule 3 sub rule 1 comes to 25% multiplied by 2 crores. Maximum amount as per rule 3 sub rule 1 will come to 25% of 2 crores, which is 50 lakhs. That is the maximum rate of dividend, and according to that the maximum amount is going to be 50 lakhs. So 50 lakhs is the amount which is going to comply with rule 3 sub rule 1. If you declare more than that, then you will not be complying rule 3 sub rule 1. Fine. Now rule 3 sub rule 2 talked about how much is the maximum withdrawal from the reserves possible. So they have stated that it is maximum 1/10 of the paid up share capital and free reserves. Okay, and paid up share capital is 2 crores, free reserves 10 crores. The 10% of it would come to 1.2 crores. Fine. Now I had told you that the second figure is going to be with by reading rule sub rule 2 and sub rule 3 together. So what is the sub rule 3 talking about? From the amount which you are withdrawing, you will have to deduct the losses. How much were the losses? The losses were 20 lakhs. So from 1.2 crores, you have deducted 20 lakhs of the losses. Okay. So the maximum amount which is going to comply with rule 3, sub rule 2 and 3 is going to be rupees 1 crore. If you pay more than 1 crore, you will not be complying rule 3, sub rule 3 and sub rule 2. Then you will not be in compliance with rule 3, sub rule 3 and sub rule 2. So this is the maximum figure satisfying sub rule 2 and sub rule 3. Fine. Now the third figure is going to be as per the calculation of sub rule 4. So sub rule 4 said that balance which has to be left in the reserves after the withdrawal, okay, has to be minimum 15% of the paid up share capital. What is 15% of the paid up share capital? It is 15% of 2 crores, which is 30 lakhs. This is the minimum which should be remaining, in the reserves. Okay, after whatever amount you have withdrawn. Therefore, the amount which can be withdrawn from the reserves is going to be equal to reserves minus whatever minimum balance is to be kept. So how much were our reserves? 10 crores. How much is the minimum balance to be kept? 30 lakhs. So 9.7 crore is the maximum amount which is going to satisfy rule 3 sub rule 4. Okay. Now, what had we seen earlier, that we have to make sure that we are satisfying all the sub rules. So because all the sub rules have to be satisfied, you will have to take the least figure from figure 1, 2 and 3. So as all the sub rules need to be satisfied, the least of the figures 1, 2 and 3 is going to be the maximum dividend which can be declared by the company satisfying rule 3. Okay, and then you can see that the first figure was 50 lakhs. Okay, second figure was 1 crore, third figure was 9.7 crores. We had seen it over here. Okay, first figure complying rule 3 sub rule 1 was 50 lakhs. Second figure was complying sub rule 2 and sub rule 3, which was how many crores? 1 crore. Okay, and the last figure was complying rule 3 sub rule 4, which came to 9.7 crore. So out of 50 lakhs, 1 crore and 9.7 crore, the least figure is how many lakhs? The least figure is 50 lakhs. Okay, and how much dividend does the board want to declare? We had seen it earlier. The board wanted to declare a dividend of how many lakhs? 30 lakhs. Okay, and how much can they maximum declare? The least of 1, 2 and 3, that is they can declare up to 50 lakhs, but they want to declare only how much? They want to declare only 30 lakhs. So is their decision to declare a dividend of 30 lakhs, that is a dividend at the rate of 15% on the equity shares, is it valid or not valid? It is valid because they are well within the limits. Okay, so that is why decision of the board of directors to declare dividend of 30 lakhs is valid, as it is within the limits of rupees 50 lakhs. I hope this makes it extremely clear that how is the practical applicability of rule 3 made. Thank you guys.